Well, you guys, it has been a lot leading up to this moment. You have no idea. Just an hour ago, our new website, CandaceOwens.com, which we launched in part so we could live stream just this sort of content, underwent a very aggressive DDoS attack from France. Just last week, by the way, the media tried to paint me adjacent to a school shooter. I'm not kidding. Almost this last-ditch pathetic DDoS attack on my character sent around the world. And of course, there is the legal threat that arrived to me from Élysée Palace. And I guess my question is, what is everybody so afraid of? It certainly cannot be a lie that has warranted this type of panic. Welcome at long last to an incredible series that we've put together for you right here on Candace. All right, you guys, so this episode really is meant to be just an introduction to introduce really the English-speaking world to what has been going on in France, because really, we have no idea. We have had no idea. So let's just start at a place that we can all agree on, okay? Receiving a legal letter from a sitting president of a foreign country is extraordinary. So extraordinary that it may have never happened before in human history. Said that I would stake my entire professional career on the fact that Brigitte Macron, the current First Lady of France, was born a man. There were many people, of course, who did not believe me because that just sounds crazy. But even those people, thanks to Emmanuel Macron's strongly worded letter, which he had his legal team put together and ask me not to publicize, are now starting to pay a little bit of attention. Take this comment from popular Canadian YouTuber and lawyer who goes by Viva Frey. He wrote this under the episode regarding that letter. I was very skeptical at first that Brigitte was a man, but I've got to tell you, Macron's lawyers are really starting to convince me. Legally speaking, it was an implausibly stupid move what they did, okay? While refusing to just plainly state that Brigitte Macron, the current First Lady of France, was indeed born a woman, they used all sorts of tricky language to suggest that they could sue me for defamation over minor errors that I made in my reporting. Okay, essentially, they were not addressing the substance of the claim. Brigitte Macron was born a biological male, but instead attacking things like, you said in an earlier report that a picture from Brigitte's communion was recolorized. This is false. This reporting has caused Brigitte to have mental anguish. Okay. But as I said, their lawyers made a critical mistake because in order to prove defamation, you have to prove that somebody acted in reckless disregard for the truth, that they knew the truth and they made a decision not to publicize it. Instead, they wanted to just publicize lies, which is something that if you guys watch this show, you know that I do not do. I do not engage in it. Quite the opposite. So by sending me a legal letter, they unintentionally provided me with a direct line, a direct link to ask Brigitte Macron and Emmanuel Macron pointed questions. They can't pretend they didn't see our questions, okay? The majority of the questions that we asked them were simply yes or no. Those were the answers that we needed, with the promise that we gave them that if she answered the questions, we would fully report on the facts. So I want to show you some of these very simple 21 questions that we asked Brigitte Macron so that we could use our platform to put an end to her mental anguish, okay? We asked, is the little girl pictured in the communion photograph, allegedly from 1963, the Brigitte Macron that is currently married to President Macron? Did Brigitte Macron ever use the name Veronique? Can you account for all of the children from the Amiens family photograph and their current whereabouts? Did Brigitte Macron physically give birth to 3 children? These are easy questions, guys. Is Brigitte Macron the same person pictured in the Ozier wedding photograph? Did Brigitte Macron ever have a relationship with Veronique Drew? Would you please provide photographs of Brigitte Macron in the 1970s? Would you please provide school photographs of Jean-Michel Trogneau, a person they purport is her brother, and Brigitte Trogneau, preferably together? When did Brigitte Macron first meet President Macron and under what circumstances? What were their respective ages when they met? Did the Macrons have an intimate physical relationship before President Macron turned 18? And if so, at what age did the relationship begin? Have your clients attempted to correct the French version of Wikipedia, which states that regarding Brigitte Macron, Quote, the age difference of more than 24 years between the two lovers causes a scandal in the Trogneau family, especially since their relationship could fall under the scope of Article 22727 of the Penal Code, which establishes the offense of sexual assault on a minor. Have your clients initiated legal action against the International Pedophile and Child Emancipation Lobby, which cites Macron's relationship in its publication, Positive Memories, on a list of, quote, positive, loving relationships with children. Like I said, these are pretty simple questions. If you are a person and you are going through mental anguish because people are talking about you being born a biological male, wouldn't you race to answer those questions? Yeah. Well, apparently they simply were not anguished enough to they were anguished enough to hire and pay an American legal firm in DC to send us a 100-page lettered threat, but they simply were not anguished enough or could not muster the energy to answer 21 basic questions to put an end to the scandal. We received no response from them because we knew that we would not receive a response from them because, well, they're lying. They are, in fact, lying to the public about Brigitte Macron's past identity. And a court case would have given us the opportunity to prove it via subpoena power. America is not France. And the state of Tennessee sure as hell isn't Paris. So let me tell you why this story matters worldwide, okay? Because this is not just something that impacts Europe. It has international implications. For example, the unprecedented raid on Donald Trump's residence at Mar-a-Lago over documents that he had taken from the White House. You guys remember that, right? Check out this headline that was in The Guardian. Trump boasted that he had intelligence on Macron's sex life. Inventory of what was seized at Mar-a-Lago caused a transatlantic freakout between Paris and Washington. I'm sorry, what? What could he have stumbled upon about Emmanuel Macron's sex life that would have caused a transatlantic panic? Here's a Rolling Stone headline to the same effect. It reads, Trump bragged that he had, quote unquote, intelligence on Macron's sex life. The FBI seized a document with info on the French president during the Mar-a-Lago raid that has officials in both countries hunting for answers. Oh, okay. Why would you be stressed as a president? What were your tastes? And here is an excerpt from that Rolling Stone article because this really is incredible. Most people don't remember this, okay? It reads, then, of course, the mere revelation of its existence triggered a transatlantic freakout, according to two other sources familiar with the situation and Trump's prior talk about the Macron's allegedly naughty ways that, quote, not very many people know, only intensified those concerns. Both French and U.S. officials worked to figure out precisely what Trump had on Macron and France's government, and if any of it was sensitive in nature, the sources said. The officials in both nations wanted to know if this discovery signified some kind of a national security breach, or if it amounted to a frivolous but stolen keepsake. Oh, okay. You wouldn't be freaking out unless there was something to be freaking out about and that Trump actually had some intelligence that could ruin things. Now I can remind you guys of the infamous Summer Olympics of 2024. Yeah, just last year, where the entire world watched as drag queens carried the Olympic torch and performed the opening ceremony. The Macrons, in my view, explicitly lied in their legal letter to me when they said that it was not mimicking the Last Supper. They said it was not satanic. Okay, here it is. Here is a side-by-side, because as we unpack this series, you are going to see that do not believe your own eyes is a repeat Macron instruction, okay? There's a Last Supper. On the left, Leonardo da Vinci's Last Supper, and on the right, there are the Paris Olympics, okay? But even if you really didn't want to believe your own eyes, it would be reasonable to assume that we could at least believe the people who performed in the ceremony, right? The lead performer was a lesbian named Barbara Butch, and following the performance, here's what Barbara Butch posted on Instagram. She wrote, oh yes, the new gay testament, with an LGBTQ flag and a fist bump. And she tagged some other people in her community. Yeah, that would register to most people as satanic, an inversion of the New Testament. But after the backlash and after the producers of the Olympics had already confessed to Page Six that it was supposed to be Leonardo da Vinci's Last Supper, they attempted to backtrack and backpedal and officially claim it. Actually, it was a pagan feast that they were mimicking. What escaped the public at large was the fact that Thomas Jolly, that was the artistic director of the performance, was handpicked to put this ceremony on in the presence of none other than First Lady Brigitte Macron, who went to see him back in 2022 at the premiere of his musical Starmania, which he produced. Emmanuel Macron, according to The Spectator at least,